The triumph of Dune Part 2 was in its translation of epic scale. The clash of armies, the thunder of sandworms, the fall of an empire. But for those who have journeyed further into Frank Herbert's saga, we know that the next chapter, Dune Messiah, is a profoundly different beast. The scale becomes intimate, the battles are waged in whispers and shadows, and the victory of Paul Atreides is revealed to be the foundation of his ultimate tragedy. The success of Denis Villeneuve's third and final film will hinge not on spectacle, but on how he adapts the strange, complex, and tragic figures who define this new era. Villeneuve's trilogy is poised to be the definitive story of Paul Atreides, and Messiah is its necessary, devastating conclusion. To understand how he might achieve this, we need to look beyond Paul and Chani and focus on four new pillars of the story: the Conspirators, Scytale and Edric, and the Aberrations, Alia and the Ghola known as Hayt. They are the engines of this narrative, and their portrayal will make or break this film. Before we dive in any further, a warning is necessary. This discussion will contain major spoilers for the novel Dune Messiah. If you wish to experience the story fresh, either in the book or in Villeneuve's upcoming film, this is your chance to turn back. For everyone else, let's step into the prescient currents and explore the shape of things to come. The primary antagonists of Dune Messiah are not a rival great house, but a clandestine conspiracy composed of the universe's most powerful and esoteric factions. At the heart of this plot are two key figures: Scytale of the Bene Tleilax and Edric of the Spacing Guild. In them, Villeneuve has the opportunity to explore new and unsettling forms of body horror and psychological dread that go far beyond the brutishness of the Harkonnens. Scytale is a Tleilaxu face dancer, a master of mimicry and genetic manipulation. In the novel, his threat is one of infiltration and deception. Villeneuve, a director who excels at creating palpable tension and unnerving atmosphere, will likely lean into the visceral horror of Scytale's abilities. Imagine his transformations not as simple costume changes, but as grotesque, biological shifts. We could see flesh ripple and reform, bones contort, a process that is both fascinating and repulsive. This visual approach would serve the story's central theme of identity. Scytale isn't just wearing a mask, he becomes the mask, a walking embodiment of the conspiracy's treacherous nature. He is the ultimate spy, and his scene should feel like a constant, paranoid threat, where any familiar face could be a monster in disguise. Then there is Edric, the Guild Navigator. David Lynch's 1984 adaptation gave us a memorable, if bizarre, take on the Navigator as a giant, mutated creature suspended in a tank of spice gas. Villeneuve's aesthetic is more grounded and tangibly real. His Navigator will likely be something more elegant and more profoundly alien. We might see a being fused with its technology, a true symbiont of flesh and machine, forever encased in a spice-saturated atmosphere that feels both life-giving and imprisoning. His visual presence is key, but his function is even more critical. Edric's own limited prescience makes him invisible to Paul's oracle-like vision, allowing the conspiracy to operate undetected. He is the veil that blinds the prophet. Villeneuve can use Edric to visually represent the limits of power. Paul can see futures, but he cannot see this one threat, creating a claustrophobic sense of dread. Scenes within Edric's tank could be surreal and distorted, a gaseous, orange world that stands in stark contrast to the sweeping vistas of Arrakis, representing the closed, conspiratorial nature of the plot against Paul. While the conspirators plot from the shadows, the more personal and tragic threats to Paul exist within his own palace walls, in the form of his sister, Alia, and the resurrected ghost of his friend, Duncan Idaho. These characters are not evil, but they are unnatural, and their struggles form the emotional core of Messiah. Alia Atreides, now a teenager, is no longer the precocious child from the first story. She is Saint Alia of the Knife, a religious icon worshipped by billions. Yet she is also an adolescent, grappling with an impossible burden. She is preborn, awakened to full consciousness in the womb, and carries the genetic memories of all of her ancestors. In Anya Taylor-Joy, Villeneuve has an actress perfectly suited to convey this dichotomy, an ancient wisdom and weariness trapped within a youthful face. The film will likely streamline her arc, focusing less on the more awkward, romantic subplots of the book and more on her profound isolation. She is revered, but not understood. She has access to countless timelines of experience, yet struggles with her own burgeoning identity. Her internal conflict, the cacophony of voices in her head, can be visualized in a similar way to Paul's visions, creating a sense of psychological fragmentation. She is a mirror to Paul's own alienation, and their shared burden will be a cornerstone of the film's tragedy. And then there is Hayt, the return of Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho, resurrected by the Tleilaxu as a Ghola, will be a powerhouse cinematic moment. But this is not the Duncan we knew. Hayt is a tool, a living weapon with the latent programming to destroy Paul at his moment of greatest vulnerability. He is given to Paul as a gift, a cruel reminder of his lost friend and a source of constant suspicion. Villeneuve will surely emphasize the uncanny valley of Hayat's existence. He has Duncan's face and body, but his eyes are metallic and his soul feels absent. His dialogue in the book is often philosophical, a product of Zen Sunni mentoring intended to subtly manipulate Paul. The film can distill this into key, unsettling exchanges that highlight his internal conflict. We might see flashes of the old Duncan, brief moments of warmth or loyalty, quickly extinguished by the cold logic of his programming. The relationship between Alia and Hayt will likely become a central emotional through line. They are two manufactured beings, one by a religious ritual, the other by a genetic factory. They are both struggling to find their true selves amidst the identities forced upon them. Their connection is a lifeline in a court defined by paranoia. It's a strange, complex romance born of shared trauma and isolation. By focusing on their bond, Villeneuve can provide a crucial counterbalance to Paul's descent. While Paul pushes everyone away, locked in the prison of his own prescience, Alia and Hayt find a fragile connection, a sliver of hope that they can forge their own identities. Ultimately, all four of these characters serve to amplify the central tragedy of Paul Atreides. Scytale and Edric represent the external, political forces that prove that even absolute power is an illusion. They show that the universe will always find a way to undermine a throne, especially one built on a mountain of skulls. Hayt and Alia represent the internal, personal cost of Paul's journey. Hayt is the ghost of his violent past, returned to haunt and potentially destroy him. Alia is the legacy of unnatural powers he has unleashed, a sister he loves, but who is also a portent of the genetic chaos the Atreides have wrought upon the universe. Denis Villeneuve's Dune Messiah will not be a triumphant sequel. It will be an elegy, a tight, paranoid political thriller where the greatest battles are fought within the minds of its characters. The action will be in a loaded glance between Paul and Hayt, in the subtle, terrifying shift of Scytale's face, in a moment of shared despair between Alia and her Emperor brother. By focusing on the profound and unsettling humanity of Scytale, Edric, Alia, and Hayt, Villeneuve can deliver a finale that is not only faithful to the spirit of Herbert's work, but also stands as a powerful, self-contained masterpiece of science fiction tragedy, a fitting and necessary end to the story of Paul Muad'Dib Atreides. Hey everyone, thanks so much for stopping by and watching. If you made it this far, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Which of the 4 new conspirators are you most excited to see in Denis Villeneuve's final entry into the Dune franchise?